Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin. Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin.
Welcome back, everybody. It's a Pubchat hangout after show for weekend update, and we'll meander through. We'll do this, some of that, and in the end, maybe something will make sense. Who knows? See where we go.
A bit of the tether.
You know, in the end, the points don't matter, right? Commander,
Hello?
you not hearing us? Flip, rejoin. You got that thing again. Refresh. Yes, refresh. Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Where's the chat thing? Refresh. Rejoin. Refresh.
When I'm calling you.
Yeah. I put it in the
How do we
chat.
go from having good sound to having no sound at all?
Yeah, I don't.
Different connection.
Yeah. I can't even refresh his audio settings. There's something wrong.
Let
You
me
got to
log out
rejoin,
and come
Commander.
back in again. We'll see if
Okay,
that
now
works.
he's got it. His connection's really fragile. We got to do that power line adapter thing. That's too much.
Get it sorted, for fuck's sake. Do it.
Yeah,
Do it
well,
now.
it's not. There's more to that than that. Okay, yeah, he's just rejoining because every time I try to, I'll be fine. No, you won't. We're getting them. So, yeah, we're doing a fundraiser right now because we got to get him some power line adapters.
I can hear you now.
All right, there we go. We're fixed. Hey, your connection's all green too. It's looking good. All right. So, where to start after all of that?
Oh wow! I got a question. I got a question for Commander because we were talking about it earlier about the British Empire, the good old British Empire. Let's bring that up because it seems to me. I mean, I really be honest with you. I really know almost fuck all about the British Empire. All I know is Commander was the aircraft carrier commander of Rorke's Drift against the Zulus. I remember that. That's all I know. And it seems to me that the British Empire seemed to be like a mix of a mixed bag of
Heroin
helping-
dealers and tea drinkers?
No, they weren't heroin dealers.
Are you kidding? Opium. Yeah.
Yeah. The opium for the Victorians, the Sherlock Holmes and stuff.
Chinese are ever thankful
Yeah.
for all you did for their medical.
Exactly.
But there definitely seems to be a mixed bag of the British Empire, especially like you were talking about, removing themselves from countries and declare. The British Empire basically became the Commonwealth, didn't it? It's just like, you're still connected with us, but we don't rule you anymore, and we'll stop
buddies. Fucking with you. Just pony up.
Yeah. It's friends with benefits, basically. But there seems to be a real mixed bag.
Just leave me the key to your apartment. I can come in and take things out of the cupboards anytime I want. And we
know
friends.
the key is under the mat out the front door. Yeah, that's where you always leave it.
Shit, I got to tell Carney to move it.
So, having lived in a number of former British colony slant protectorates, my view is that, there were a lot of really horrible, bad elements to British colonialism, but by and large, of the countries that did get colonized by Europe, the ones that were colonized by Britain ended up coming out of that period better off than those of other nations.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned India. I mean, India is probably like the classic, the British Raj and all that kind of. It's definitely empire.
Sure, but even putting in perspective, Canada. Let's be honest, that was a British colony. Look at Canada today. But Kenya, we're just talking Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, of the South Africa, of the countries in the sub-Saharan Africa, those are the ones that are probably the best off.
Yeah, I noticed someone in the chat they were talking about Kenya, and Kenya is basically like a very well governed part of Africa, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Oh, what? One sec, Commander. We just did that whole audio drop for you again. Let's see. I think you're back. Okay, bring it back in.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So I think the one thing that makes the British colonies a little different is that they were run in most part as private corporations, British East India Company, I can't remember the big one in Canada, for example.
Hudson's Bay.
Hudson's Bay, thank you. And the difference there is that a company is looking to be profitable. So they tried to find ways to make things profitable. And that meant training up locals to handle as much of running the colony as possible. Whereas you find in, for example, the French colonies, the Italian colonies and such, they were run in large part as not corporations, but a section of the government. And it wasn't an interest in making it profitable. It was an interest in making it profitable for the state to take out as much as they could. And in many cases, to do that, you simply sent in your own people to take everything from the locals.
Yeah.
And that's why, for example,
precious metals, guano.
You name it. That's one of the reasons, for example, Algeria. You got to remember, Algeria was actually considered a part of France. It was not a colony. Yeah. It was integrated as part of France.
Yeah.
And it was because they kept sending all the colonists over the Pied Noirs, I think it is, Blackfeet, because they were dirty in the black soil of the country or whatever. And so they were just literally taking wholesale everything they could from the locals. As opposed to in India, you didn't take the stuff from the locals so much as tell the locals, well, you need to pay a tax on what you have. We'll take part of what you produce. And I think that's the difference, is that because you trained up a civil service class, because you put in place courts as opposed to simple arbitrary, the governor says, therefore it is the new law. Those countries were able to transition after having been integrated into a system better.
Makes sense.
Well, the thing is, when you talk about tax as well, it's not like they were just like stealing. Money was going back in.
Oh yeah,
to the countries too.
In fact, that's one of the reasons that you find Britain divests itself in some cases of these colonies, like India. Yeah, there was opposition, but it hadn't come to full-blown war. It was, protests and such.
Right.
But the idea is it's not profitable anymore. They're not paying their taxes. They're refusing to give us our taxes. They found other ways to avoid taxes. Gandhi's whole thing with making salt, from the sea, circumvented the whole British tax system on salt.
Yeah. And that was half of the lucrative thing of it right there, almost, right? I think that came out to like 40% or something, the salt deal, right?
Yeah. And I'm not trying to say colonialism was a good thing.
Obviously.
What I'm saying is that, at least in the case of Britain, it almost by accident, I don't think it was by any stretch of the imagination by design, but by accident, it ended up giving those countries where Britain had fully developed systems a better head start on becoming viable countries on their own.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the interesting thing. When you talk about colonialism, you can't forget about the United States. The United States was a nation built on colonialism. I wouldn't say primarily from the US, from the UK or Britain at the time. It was all kinds of nations were trying to make a new home there, and it's just like the whole thing about.
It was the great race to carve it up, man.
Yeah, but you talk about the War of Independence, from the King George, do right, these fuckers mad as a hatter.
The U.S. becomes kind of the exception to the rule, the unique side story. I don't know what you want to call it, but the colonial or colonists, I should say, who landed on the shores of North America came in to what was essentially empty territory. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to denigrate the First Nations people at all. But what most people don't understand is that when Columbus and the first explorers show up in the New World, North America is heavily populated.
Yeah.
And then there's this pause before you start getting the colonists coming over. In that interim, 90 to 95% of that population had died from diseases that they had no natural immunities to.
Yeah.
So, the folks show up at Plymouth Rock and there's a few Indians here, but, it was nowhere near the population that had been there pre-Columbus.
Right.
And so they looked at it as like, well, this is largely unoccupied territory. How can anybody object to having this little corner over here? And then you, and then you compound that by making it worse of the colonists having no real sense that the Indians owned that land, even though it wasn't under cultivation, because they didn't cultivate like that. They were hunter-gatherers.
Yeah, you've got a serious divide in the way people are, and you've got a natural ignorance from those that come over to just go, it's empty.
Yeah,
they don't get it, right?
Right. But I think the key difference there is that North America being empty, unlike Africa, which isn't, because those people that lived there didn't die off to all those diseases, you had to have some sort of ability to run your colony in Africa with a security force rather than sending people over to become the farmers and the loggers and the miners. Because in Africa, you just hired or, held a gun to the head of some poor schmuck and said, grow cotton, cut down these teak trees and dig up the gold over there.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you. The folks that came over on the Mayflower, they were all like puritanicals. They were, they were just like pure and just everything's God and fantastic and everything's all nice and lovely. What went wrong? Well, how did a boatload of puritanists? I can't even bloody say it. How did that turn into New York City, where they're just a bunch of assholes and going?
New York City is not British. No, serious. It starts out as a Dutch colony.
Yeah.
People don't realize that Pennsylvania is mosely German initially.
Yeah, I remember this story coming up is when they were coming up with is this true? I've heard this, that the language of America was at one point was going to be German, because they were like making a decision what language do we speak.
There were more German speakers.
Yeah.
In certain areas.
Just to go back to New York for a second, that's where the song lyric comes from. It's from early days of horses and carts and stuff. Past the Dutchie on the left-hand side. That's New York, man.
Are you sure about that?
No. That's a Jamaican import.
Oh, well, they already got their slaves anyway. So,
and there are some of the colonies that ended up in the New World that people aren't even aware of. Like there was a Swedish colony. There was before they unified, there was a Scottish colony.
Oh, I can go with that.
Before it became the United Kingdom, there was a Scottish colony. It failed.
Oh,
but everybody was in on the land grab, because it's like, wow, there's all this stuff and we can just go and take it. It's great.
No kebab shops.
Yeah, no taco trucks met them, so they got hungry and they went home.
This is the thing. I mean, when we talk about the Mayflower and all that kind of stuff. It's the classic story of coming to America, and I don't mean the Eddie Murphy film.
Thank you.
What's okay, so we talk about the Mayflower. We talk about them coming over. Was it just like was that just like the Chosen story? Wasn't it just like ships coming in from all over the place all at the same time? But that's like become the famous one. Which is like everybody's going.
As I understand it, but as I understand it, part of the whole ships thing is due to piracy and so on and whatnot of the ships coming over and stuff.
It's complicated, but yeah, there's an element of that. There is, after Columbus's secret
coming
gets
into
out,
the Caribbean sort of thing.
Yeah, after Columbus's secret gets out. Everybody starts, because remember, when it first got out, it wasn't, this is the new world. It was, this is the path to the Orient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He thought he was in India, right?
Yeah, so everybody's going, shit, we can go get all those expensive spices with just one boat. Everybody hop on, let's go.
Yeah.
And they get there and it's like, damn, there's a continent in the way.
Yeah, exactly.
What asshole put this here?
Yeah, Christopher, I don't think these are really Indians, you idiot, you know.
It was the early Trump wall.
Yeah, but once realization came to a point where they realized it was this entire new landmass and it was huge, then everybody starts trying to carve it up because they want their slice of the pie.
Yeah.
And so, they start settling. And the Treaty of, I'm going to get the name wrong, Tordesillas or something like that. And it's a papal deal that's made between Portugal and Spain that literally cuts a line straight down the center of what they thought was the New World, and everything on one side was Portugal's and everything on the other side was Spain's.
Yeah.
And then the British kind of said, hey, wait, how come we don't get any? So they started sending their guys over, and the French are the same thing. And all these other groups start trying their part. And, it's which countries have the surplus population and the venture capital to start funding these colonies. Those are the ones that make it big. And I mean, I think there was a reasonably good chance that, North America could have ended up French rather than British had the French not gotten so involved in all these stupid petty wars in Europe that drained their treasury.
They're still trying in Canada, but just,
Well,
Well, you had this little upstart called Napoleon that came in and fucked all that up, didn't he?
always beware, small man in a big hat.
Well, actually, he fucked it up for the British as well because during the War of Independence, a lot of military was being trained off to fight this little silly Frenchman. So
yeah.
Maybe things would have been different in America if we weren't fighting that war in Europe.
Yeah. Good point there. Good point.
but that also touches on the idea of what happened to the Scandinavians, because we know they did arrive here. The issue is it was never a state-sponsored or corporate-sponsored with state blessing attempt to colonize. It was just a couple of guys who got in a boat and sailed that direction, and look.
Yeah, they did the whole, as I understand it, they've almost got this figured out now, and they come along Greenland and so on and do a little bounce around and stuff and end up in Newfoundland, right?
Well, it's
exactly. So
it's fucking obvious. It's obvious. The Scandinavians. Where do you think all those beautiful blonde girls in California come from?
Well, speaking of which, I want to say on this topic, more and more and more, we're starting to push the archaeological record of human occupation, so to say, or whatever, of North America. And it keeps going back more and more and more and more. And it's starting to look to me, as an amateur on the topic, by all means, but it's starting to look to me that just like we discovered in North America here in Canada with the Vikings, I think people got to South America and so on and whatnot before we think. We know that people came through the land bridge, from the Ice Age through Alaska and everything, because there's a clear trail of them coming down this trek. But I'm not sure they were first. It's starting to get really muddy. I'm really liking what we're discovering about ourselves. I like it.
You want to know the one that floors me that the archaeology is starting to come up with? The Polynesians.
Yes.
In South America.
It turns out it's starting to look like they were literally everywhere, Commander.
Yeah.
They're such an impressive people. Holy, when you start learning about what they did, man. Wow.
Their ability to navigate basically based on swell patterns and stars, but not the way we use stars, but kind of it's mind-boggling how brilliant those people must have been to be able to pull that shit off.
Well, when you talk about it's like the movement of mankind throughout the world, and it's kind of like it's kind of like regarded as fact. It all like stemmed from Africa.
Yeah.
And so the Polynesians, that's there's a little bit of a close connection to Africa, I suppose. You got the Caribbean, and you can work your way over, and then of course the Polynesians are probably they're probably like the native Americans. It's like there has to be that kind of like point where all these people are branching out.
The genotype is different. So,
well, where did they come from?
The evidence suggests that what you had was Polynesian people came to South America, never made it to North America. They came to South America and basically traded. They did not settle there.
Right.
And that's where you get the change in Polynesian diet that suddenly starts including sweet potatoes, which is not something that was anywhere resident in their
the only place they get that is South America, baby, right?
Exactly. And there's one other crop that's the same way, and I think there's an animal. It's not a large animal. It's like a guinea pig or something. But they start getting those as a food source as well. And so there's evidence that they showed up and did that, and their colonization is all the islands across the Pacific, which, given the distances involved, is just mind-blowing. Because these are people going in little rafts and canoes over hundreds and thousands of miles.
Yeah.
And you go, holy shit. Can you imagine how many of them died that didn't make it?
Yeah. It makes me wonder, Commander, in thinking about things like this, I would like to see a modern version of sea levels from during some ice age times and stuff.
I have a friend who's an archaeologist. Doctorate.
Is there any chance of little atolls or anything that could have helped them?
Possibly, but the one that really boggles my mind, around the time the pyramids are first being built, you could still walk from Europe to Britain.
Yeah.
The entire North Sea, or what is today the North Sea, was basically a lush pasture.
Yeah. Yeah. And you got that there's a whole bunch of these, but the other part of this discussion I really like is when you look at the sea levels.
Is that what we're calling it now? Doggerland? I hadn't heard that name before.
Yeah, Doggerland. Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember the name.
The other thing that floored me, when the pyramids were being built, there were still woolly mammoths walking the earth.
Yeah.
I mean, in my mind, until I heard that fact, it was like, you had the woolly mammoths and the saber-toothed tigers and everything. And then there's this, 100,000 year gap. And then you get people doing civilized things.
Yeah.
No.
No.
You didn't base that fact off that stupid movie 10,000 BC, did you?
Yeah,
and
RP
yes,
and
all the women looked like Raquel Welch back then.
Yeah. RP Marson in the chat says there, I feel an Ancient Aliens vibe coming on. Yeah, no, not around here, dude. No. If Giorgio Tsoukalos even steps foot in my town, I'm gonna fucking run him off. Absolutely.
Hey, Liam, so a lot of what Thor Heyerdahl did has been discredited, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's not to say that what he did was not an impressive bit of research, but I think he started off with a premise and then went to prove the premise rather than trying to do it the other way, which is, finding proof that your premise was true.
Yeah. But it's a really cool topic. I mean, look at all of the underwater ruins they're discovering in the Mediterranean and stuff now, right?
Yeah.
You know, it really shows that there must have been, you know, you don't have ruins underwater because you tried to build a city underwater in the Stone Age or whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
well, yeah, maybe that was just like failed SeaWorld parks.
Yeah, well, no, but they found some really good stuff, and it's becoming, I think, painfully obvious that the Mediterranean was a lot lower, and people always live by water, so there you go, right? And
Yeah, I have a theory on this, but carry on.
Well, I think the idea of people living by water and then sea level rising as we become modern humans tends to lead one to think that there's going to be some earlier human settlements and stuff that are harder to find now because they're under the fucking water. It kind of makes sense to me, you know?
Hell, it doesn't even have to be underwater. They keep stumbling across new massive city complexes in Central America and in South America because nobody's ever gone really looking for them, or the forestation has covered them.
Since satellites and stuff, Commander.
The Amazon base.
Yeah, they didn't know how to look for them.
Yeah. Since satellites there, Commander, what we've learned of South America has taken it from primitive people to holy shit, real societies that were kicking ass, you know?
Damn straight.
Yeah. You know, very, very cool.
It is very fascinating when they sort of like, uncover an entire city. And it's like, well, where did it go?
Yeah.
Where did the people go? What happened to the society? Because this must have been a very, very advanced society at the time, and it's just gone.
Well, it's a funny thing. I've been watching some of these newer shows lately and stuff here. I got some great ones from AI Alchemist here on the topic, but
that's a photograph.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's where I was born, right? You know, but they're starting to find. Sorry,
there's a place in Turkey, Gölcüktepe, I think.
Oh,
I'll get the name.
It's Göbekli Tepe.
Yeah, Tepe is hill.
Yeah.
In Turkey. But yeah, that one is fascinating because it has taken most of the statements of, this is when man started to get civilized and build towns and everything. And now this thing said, no, it's at least 10,000 years earlier than that, you stupid fool.
Yeah, there's, what's that other one? There's a really ancient place. It was a little town. And at this point, they estimate that it was a viable, small little town city or whatever for about 8,000 years. And it's not much younger than Göbekli Tepe. What's it called? They found a buried woman in the floor with some things to show that even way back then, what was that place called? I'll try to remember, but
Milton Keynes.
Yeah. Historically amazing because now it's a Red Bull Formula One team town. I can't remember.
The thing is that we lose track of the fact that we've gone through, we being humanity, have gone through down cycles too. So you get the great Bronze Age collapse is one. I can't speak with a lot of authority on it, but yeah, it was pretty amazing how all these societies just suddenly across an entire massive landmass area all suddenly just go goodbye, and they disappear.
Yeah.
And it's like the Mayans. The Mayans were pretty much gone by the time Columbus shows up. They built massive cities, huge. I mean, I've seen estimates. Their population was, in the vicinity of 10 million or something. And by the time the conquistadors show up, a large village was one with 100 people.
Yeah.
It didn't require European diseases to kill them off. Something else did it, and we don't really know what it is.
There's one astrophysicist dude. I'll try to remember his name. Bit of a heretic because of the way he's going with this whole thing, but he thinks that there's an asteroid impact somewhere to be found, similar to Chicxulub there, or whatever. That would explain. Yeah. And he figures that there's a missing one that would explain this, drop that happened.
Yeah. For a long time, people were speculating that the Gulf of America, not the Gulf of Mexico, can't have that. They speculate that was actually a, comet or meteor strike of massive proportions.
Yeah.
I don't know, given the number of little islands that are still there, it makes it dubious.
It doesn't have the central and the characteristics that you would look for in an impact, even within a water environment.
Right. But I agree. I think there's probably at least one, if not more, massive meteor strikes that we've not discovered. And when you consider that, 70% of the Earth's surface is covered by water. So you don't need to hit land to cause a big thing. All it needs to do is hit the planet. And even if it's, the Marianas Trench, boom.
Yeah.
All that stuff goes up as steam, everything, the crops fail for the next 10 years while all the crap comes out of the sky. Everybody starves to death, boom.
Yeah. Similar to, there's a group of people, I think they're still doing it, called the Holocene Impact Group. And they're of the hypothesis, and to them, it's pretty solid, that there was a big impact that affected over Europe, Mediterranean area and stuff. And they think they've got their impact point in the water, and they think they show from satellite imagery and stuff what they call chevrons, these formations that come from the water pulling away from a tsunami event.
Oh.
And there's a lot of people that disagree with them, but these are not, Eric von Danikins and Giorgio Tsoukaloses. We're talking about real geologists and people of, academic credibility.
Yeah. But the thing is, there's also these people who talk about ancient civilizations so old that you couldn't find no trace.
Yeah,
they literally leave no trace, and so we'll never know about them.
Yeah,
and that is like truly fascinating. That there could be something we can't know. We'll never know.
Yeah,
unless we
Silurian hypothesis is what it's called. I think.
No, that's like dinosaurs becoming like humans and stuff.
Oh, okay. That's
pretty human.
Yeah.
The other ones are like earthquakes or volcanoes. I mean, there's I think pretty convincing arguments made that Atlantis existed. Not as the way most people think, but it's basically a society like, say, the Minoan.
Yeah, exactly.
Near what is today
Crete.
Oh God, what's that? Santorini.
Yeah.
And it's you can still see kind of the edge with where the island exists, what would have been the edge of the crater.
Yeah.
So assume that was a society, and they built all this wonderful advanced civilization on the side of a volcano, and the supervolcano one day woke up and said, "Nah, I think I'm done with you guys," and poof, they disappeared.
Yeah, there's a woman, Commander, who's done an underwater survey of the land underneath in the caldera of the that circular island bit, and it's exactly what it should look like if it was blown to fucking pieces.
Yeah,
I love the thing about Atlantis. The thing about Atlantis that makes me laugh was they're so advanced. Maybe they just made some garlic bread, and they go, This is the future. This is amazing. And that's all they did. And
if you're a civilization that's still making flint knives and wearing bear skins, and these guys already figured out how to cast copper and or bronze,
right?
That looks like really advanced super science fiction-y technology to me.
Yeah, but my point is, from a modern perspective, we look back and go, oh, they were so advanced. So people like imagine Atlantis as like being visited by flying saucers and shit like that. No, they just made garlic bread.
Yeah,
and they'd never heard of it before.
Well, or it could have been they had a they could have had a cool weave for a fabric or a dye anybody's never seen before. Maybe they were the first to use the blue dye or whatever, right?
Yeah, they invented pretzels.
Yeah, But that's the whole thing, right? If I was to just take my cell phone and whatnot backwards in time to somebody from the 60s.
Oh, yeah, you'd be a time traveler, dude.
Right?
Yeah,
so it doesn't take... It doesn't...
I mean, from the far future, not just...
Right. So if you go back in time to when high technology was something simple to us, maybe artisan in nature, artisan, whatever... it's not hard to foresee the big, super society as just being somebody who figured out something first. No big deal.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, you take your, you go back in time, you take your iPhone with you, and you go, look, let me show you Facebook. Oh shit, I've got no signal.
You got no signal. Remy in the chat says wine. Good call, right? All it needs to be is something that was better than everybody else had, and boom, they're awesome, right?
So, fair warning, I got to sign off in
so do we.
8 minutes.
Yeah, so do we. I've got to get ready to do supper, otherwise my son will literally, like I said earlier, kick my nuts through my mouth. So,
chewy.
Yeah, I don't want that either, because I'd rather have supper than myself.
You better start working on that time machine.
Yeah. Oh man. Or at least a DeLorean with like a good engine and transmission and suspension and steering.
That's just called a car.
Yeah. I'd like to put a real car inside of a DeLorean. That would be cool.
Okay, build a time machine, go back and rebuild a DeLorean. Make it a good car.
Yeah, for the love of God, make it more than 200 horsepower, you morons.
How ironic that would be to build a time machine out of a DeLorean to go back in time
to fix the
DeLorean how to
DeLorean.
build the car.
Wings? We don't need wings where we're going.
Yeah, exactly. So, thoughts and wrap
by the way,
ups.
don't do the cocaine deal, by the way.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. That'd be really good. Actually, if I was going to go back in time and tell John DeLorean not to do the cocaine deal, I'd tell him not to do the plastic surgery chin as well. That was stupid. Anyway, what do you think, Dunk? You want to leave the viewers with any words of wisdom before we go?
Do you think I've got any words of wisdom? No, at this point at the time of the day, no. I just got gibberish. But no, don't forget. If you like the show, if you like the other show, if you haven't watched the other show, watch the other show. So watch that one and then come back to this one and say, "Oh, thanks for watching this show and whatever show you're watching." And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe it, and put some little tantalizing little nugget for us to discuss in the comment section. Yeah, you got some theories about civilization, future, past, or present? Yeah, just put it in there, and we'll give you some shit.
And if your name is Giorgio Tsoukalos, please put something in the chat, because I can't wait to see it. Commander, what do you think, buddy?
So, I think I want to wrap up one thing that we talked about Tanganyika, which led us into the discussion about British colonies, which ended up with all these other early civilization things. I just wanted to point out that Tanzania was, when it became independent, a British colony.
Interesting.
However, just to be truthful here, it was a colony that the British captured from the Germans in World War One.
Hurrah!
So it was the Germans that laid the foundations for all the crap that went on.
It always comes to the Germans.
You can always blame it on the Germans, right?
Yeah. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Two World Wars, one World Cup. Yeah.
So let's give a big shout out to the team here. We got Mexi Girl on the Shills account here. We got PJ CNET, Shayna Caldwell, AI Alchemist, Chris Lundy, Liam Wakefield. I think Jose's in the chat. Matt, Super Chat Matt's in the chat. So big thanks to everybody. And remember.
Yeah. Remember?
Remember this. A kiss is just a kiss. How does that song go? I can't remember.
A sigh is just a sigh.
Remember, join us on Thursday for a hangout on Shills Live. That's at the Shills Live. Join us for let's see, we got the Friday show coming up. We got the Saturday show, the Ukraine show coming up. We also have here, I've got a thing I can give you a shout out on right now because Janine Terblanche, one of our moderators, has a fundraiser going as well. I just put the link in the chat. The moderators will redo it. It's a good thing. It's an important thing, and you can help out. It's not a bad thing. Before we run, there was a shout out that I did not do for UTV and Ham there in the chat, Ken Vet. And it was a $5 direct Ko-fi donation to help with whatever's needed. My good deed of the day. It was a very good deed indeed.
I know where that's going because we've got to feed Americans and Commander needs more pretzels.
Yeah. Commander needs his pretzels. No, but yeah, there's some shit going on. Make sure you're paying attention. There's people that need help at food banks and stuff. You could probably be helpful. And join us soon on the channel. Thanks for joining us, everybody. See you soon.
If you see a president out on the street, kick him in the nuts.
Right through his mouth. Turn him into a sandwich shooter. Arrgh!
Cashews, almonds, or Brazil nuts?
Well, Brazil nuts.
I want to make sure we're doing this properly.
Brazil nuts, because they just had a really good race today in Formula One. Check it out. It was worth watching.
There you go.
See you, everybody. Take care out there.
Ciao.
Stay chilly.